Welcome to our afternoon webinar here. Oh, I'm just going to wait and let a few people come on in. Good stuff. Just a quick, just for everybody who's joined so far, on the left-hand side of your screen, you'll see a couple of options in terms of your being able to say react to some of the things we're saying. You can see a chat in there as well. If you can hear me okay, can you just hover over and give me a little thumbs up? Go over to the react. It's wonderful. Yes. Wonderful. Please carry on doing that throughout. So, yes, thanks, Rich. As you notice, you can be a bit spammy with it, and that's absolutely fine. Cool. No, welcome everybody. Just a few minutes for everybody to join. But I hope everyone is doing well. Got some great content coming up for you this afternoon. It'll take around about half an hour. So we'll give it another minute, and then I shall hand over to Stu to get us started. A few more people in the waiting room. Hope you all appreciate the slight instrumental jazz in the waiting room. Didn't get many options actually. They haven't updated the waiting room options for a couple, like 2 years now. Ingrained in our brains. Cool. Okay, let's give it another 30 seconds or so. Just in case you're wondering as well, we are recording the session, so we'll be sending around a recap with a link to the recording afterwards. If you do miss anything whatsoever, don't worry. Cool. Okay. It's just gone 5 past here, so I think let's get going. So I'm going to hand over to Stu. Kick us off.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining our webinar. Very excited to be sharing some insights today with you on today's topic, which is focused on why organizations should consider ditching the Martech stack mentality and focus on building your Martech spine for maximum marketing performance. So for those who are relatively new to Clevertouch, we are a multifaceted Martech consultancy providing professional services, research enablement, and we've developed our own simplification software. Our mantra is to simplify, connect, and inform, be that the systems or the people. And these are really our guiding principles that we apply to our work every single day. And authenticity and quality is very important to us. We don't use contractors ever. We have over 100 Martech certifications across some of the leading platforms. And importantly, we use all of this Martech stuff ourselves. And as you can see, we work with some fantastic brands. We help our customers really develop their digital maturity through a combination of strategy, helping them with their roadmap and strategic direction, technology through platform selection, optimization, migrating platforms, data through getting the data ready, cleansed, remediated, so you can really activate the great data you have in your systems. Innovation through thinking about additional channels or integrations across the organization. Execution, so that's really kind of helping you with project management, thinking about supporting your campaigns, building out excellent customer journeys within the platforms. Compliance, which is about your preference centers, consent management, and upskilling your organization as well through training, certification, and enablement. And we have a really world-class data and insights team that supports you with dashboarding and reporting, proving the ROI back to your business. And of course, our SaaS and custom development. So, simplification tools that sit on top of your marketing automation platforms to help you get content out faster in an improved environment for many customers. So that's a little bit about us. The main topic really today, as we wanted to cover, was this idea of how marketers should rethink about their approach to their Martech investments and consider the importance of not what technology you have, but what capabilities you need in your organization so you can build a connected spine to really maximize your performance. I know we are all familiar with Scott Brinker's famous infographic. He's done a fantastic job over the years helping define the categories for Martech solutions. And it's really helped establish this concept of the Martech stack. I've been in Martech for 14 years now, and I've actually seen this infographic in its infancy, where there was only just 300 platforms on there. And you can see that now there's just a huge explosion, over 14,000 platforms and choices for you in the market. And, you know, that's a big issue because we're seeing that sheer investment into the stack. We see a lot of wastage. According to Gartner's CMO report, 60% of Martech investments is waste, and only 40% of Martech is used, and the level of integration is even less at 26%. And that same report said that integration was a top 3 CMO issue right now. And we see that coming through our own data. Our own research shows that 68% of marketers have a stack that isn't fully connected or integrated. And to go one step further, 25% of marketers have their CMS, their marketing automation or marketing cloud platforms and CRM operating in clear silos. So the reality is that this explosion of technology driven through client demand and VCs has resulted in a disconnected stack, causing a lot of issues with IT, and it's difficult to prove ROI to leadership. And here at Clevertouch, we're big believers of keeping your Martech strategy simple to focus on a more coherent strategy. And in 2019, we've published our Martech Spine. Many of you may have seen this in the market. It's a more coherent approach to managing your Martech. It's underpinned by our mantra of simplifying the platforms that you need, connect the core set of platforms to operationalize your capabilities, and inform the leaders of your results. You know, we believe that some Martech platforms have more importance than other technologies and should really be fully integrated prior to thinking about adding in any of those arterial technologies that you may have seen across the wider infographic. So opting for a spine has helped many organizations deliver more value, and we're seeing through our own research. So back in May, we published our own State of Martech report. It's in its 5th year in conjunction with Southampton University, a top 10 business school in the UK. And we go out and we survey over 600 marketers across the UK, US, and Europe. And we identified 5 key themes that came out of the report earlier this year. Martech migrations. So the pace of new platform adoption has slowed down significantly, and there's a real focus on migrating the right technologies and consolidating the right technologies in your organization. There is still a big gap between the aspirations of doing personalization, but the reality. Only 10% of marketers are actually achieving real-time personalization in their communications. The operating models that we see are evolving. So there is really kind of an internal conundrum around when do we need to use external partners? How do we build our operating model and skill set internally to achieve our goals and capabilities? And there's definitely a rise in the sort of revenue-centric marketers. So the need to demonstrate attribution, the need to demonstrate ROI, because there is increasing pressure into the organization, the Martech function, to be able to prove their worth and see how they're doing from an ROI perspective. And the last one really, which I want to talk about now, is sort of the mission critical. So that's where Martech has become a strategic business asset for organizations. So just under half of the marketers that we polled said they're now using marketing automation platforms, for example, as wider use cases across their business, thinking about their customer onboarding, renewals, price lifts, etc. So not just using it from a campaign and demand gen motion, but how we're using this technology to try to drive real business value. And we're seeing that, despite marketing owning 80% of the budget, we are starting to see an increasing ownership of Martech across other functions within the business, like IT. A few interesting examples of mission critical use cases here is some of our customers. So Essential, multinational, large brand, they run Martech for paid for publications to their subscribers, so end-to-end process of subscriptions. Adecco, they ran a big, large-scale recruitment process during the pandemic to get 40,000 door knockers to roll out the consensus in 2021, 2022. All of that driven through platforms. And BT focus very heavily on rolling out their regulatory contractual communications that they do on a frequent basis. So it's not just about campaigns and driving demand, but really the use case of using Martech across the business has become a real rise. And so what we've seen is that there is increased ownership and oversight within the Martech through the CIO and IT function, and the technologies that you use have to increasingly be more aligned to IT's vision of their strategic vendors within their business. And that often goes through rigorous change management and QA processing. And we're starting to see new roles emerge within organizations, things like IT business partner, where they sit between marketing and IT, and they help translate marketing needs back to the IT function, but they also educate the marketing team about what the limitations that they have or what can be achieved within the current architecture and the data that's flowing between the platforms itself. So all of this actually does create significant potential for increased budget and visibility and impact within your Martech strategy. And it's really then important to think about developing your spine so that you can recognize and have those conversations with IT. But we also know that building your spine and developing your spine in practice comes with real world challenges. We know that it's difficult to do that. Often you have core technologies that are very well established. Complex businesses have some legacy and underperforming platforms in place, and often multiples of those as well. And the task is no longer just filling the void or connecting the dots, but it's often about how to reset complex existing systems and processes. And if Martech is strategically important to the business success, then you can't operate in silos anymore. You're dictated to by the enterprise architecture, the policies, the securities, considerations, and those are the constraints of what you're able to implement and how you can operate. So we know that vendors themselves, they're striving for a more competitive advantage in a crowded market, and sort of the lines are blurring between those platforms and the overlap of those functionality. And we know it's making it's harder to kind of understand exactly what they will provide you and what you actually need. So I think staying ahead of your peers and delivering innovative marketing requires that seamless flow of data between the platforms in your spine, and that's more important than ever. So that's why we have evolved our own spine to focus less on name platforms and more around the functional capabilities of each platform in your spine. For example, it's less about you need a CDP, and it's more around, well, you need a platform that's capable of managing identity resolution and a 360 view of your customer. So we're developing our spine methodology to really focus on capabilities within your organization. These are core capabilities that need to be in place. Once you fully can integrate and get the platforms talking to each other, not just from a data perspective, but also a functionality perspective, then you'll be able to see all the benefits of these capabilities within your organization. So let's take a quick deeper dive into some of these. I won't go through them all, but I think it's worth just pointing them out. So starting on the left-hand side, you have business insights and modeling. I think we all recognize the challenge of aggregating data in a meaningful and actionable way in an organization. In fact, I was talking to a FTSE 100 insurer last week who have a team of 40 people in their data science function doing this very same job. And even they struggle to get legacy data out of their platforms to be able to run propensity modeling for their organization. But it's absolutely critical that they do that. And I'm sure most of us online now, we have some form of business insights. It's absolutely critical that businesses are able to make smart, data-driven decisions, whether that's choosing the best campaign to run in a moment of time or reporting back to leadership around the attribution and performance of that campaign. It's critical that you have this capability in your organization. And when you think about your identity resolution and customer 360, so identity isn't new. We've always had a prospect, we've always had a customer or a client, or we've always had an account or an organization or company in our databases. But the ability to collect that and unify that customer data and that prospect data, align that data across all the sources to create a unified record is what's increasingly needed, particularly if you're striving to drive more personalized communications to improve those conversions. So you've got to think about how do we build the capability to identify customers across aggregate data sets and manage the preferences and the consent within your customer base as well. And once you have that data ingested and unified, then you really can start to think about building out more your journey orchestration and your decisioning. And journey orchestration, again, that's not new. That's been in marketing automation for some time. We've been building out customer journeys for years. But the ability to identify communication, so thinking about who do we send information to, what do we send them, when do we send them, and how, has really been a complex thing to do in the past, particularly if you don't have the data talking between the platforms. But the capabilities are there, the tools are there, and they are there to help manage things like your comms limits dynamically, select the right channels with the right personalized content in real time. And once you get to that point, then you can start to then achieve those personalization goals that many marketers want to do. And if you start to then think about, right, well, how do I manage my campaigns to create that content? How do I manage my projects, my budgets and resources? Then strategic resource management is a capability that is fast growing in many organizations. There's just a lot of efficiency in being able to be tracking your campaigns, your budget, your resources internally. And once you have in that place, integrating those campaigns across your channels. So you're thinking about your market automation tools, for example. So creating campaigns in one platform, easily then integrating and duplicating that campaign in your activation channel is really a strong capability. And those activation channels, they're there to help build your libraries of assets, to think about how you handle the communications. So sending out to your clients, sending out segments, capturing the responses, and then obviously being able to integrate that data, that tracking, that engagement into your relationship management tools. And that's, again, the ability to inform the sales organization of the engagement that you're having across your overall org. So once you've got the data flowing into the relationship management, helping to capture the consent, helping to prioritize who to outreach to, that then supports the enablement piece. So supporting the org with the right content to send out to the right accounts and the prospects through your propensity scoring, helping them prioritize their day. You can see that all of the data is really connected through the spine. And we actually had an event a couple of weeks ago with our customers, and we asked them, of the Martech Spine capability, which of these represent the biggest challenge for you in your organization? And the top three, no surprise, really comes down to data. So it's business insights modeling, identity resolution, customer 360, and journey orchestration and decisioning. So fundamentally, we've evolved our spine so that we can focus on these capabilities. We have a very strong view around how you need to get your spine and your platforms intrinsically connected and have a relationship between them. If you think about the lines between the platforms here, if you get data flowing backwards and forwards, then you have obviously the ability to be able to activate on those capabilities within your spine. So it really is thinking about less on the Martech stack and how you avoid that. So some top tips: don't start with the technology ever. Think about your vision of what you want to achieve in your organization. Prioritize the capabilities that you want to achieve. Think about your as-is state and the capability where you want to go. Just recognize that some capabilities are more important than others. Really try and stitch this idea of a stack. It doesn't help anyone. It's confusing, it's complex, it's very, very difficult to prove ROI, and focus on building that connected spine. Once you have that, you can really then start to demonstrate and benchmark yourself to your organization. So with that, we have quite an exciting new announcement. To help you build your spine, it's really helpful for you to understand your Martech IQ. So I'm going to pass back over to Chris now, who's going to talk to you about very innovative new product that we're bringing to market that helps you benchmark yourself with real actionable research so that you can really build out your capabilities of your spine and go back to your organization and help prove their ROI. So I'll pass over to you, Chris.
Let me just take over the screen share just quickly. There we go. Seamless. Okay. So yes, thank you, Stu. If you don't know me, so I'm Chris Fowler. So I'm Director of Research and Enablement here at Clevertouch. And yeah, it's really exciting actually to be able to share and talk about Martech IQ. It's something we've been working on, I say the last 12 months, but it kind of goes back further than that. And it's really a direct response to some of the challenges that our customers are facing, and some of the questions that we're asking as well as part of that. Because we're saying, we speak to clients every day. We're hearing a lot of the questions, a lot of the challenges that they're facing. So we kind of go, wouldn't it be great if marketers had the capability to actually analyze their current as-is Martech status? So this is really difficult to do, because you might know your platforms, you might know the tools that you have available, you might understand your data and how it all connects together, but actually none of that really helps when you are faced with the most difficult question, which is, where should we be focusing our efforts next? What should we be doing next? Where should we be spending our budgets next? Okay, because, and we'll come on to it, and Stu talked about it, that Martech is complex, it's messy. So where do you start? Okay. Also, wouldn't it be great if we could also, as part of this, we could analyze our Martech spend and our outcomes and actually be able to utilize and be able to measure that and utilize this metric, which is what's going to be your Martech IQ. Okay. So if we know our as-is state and we know our representative Martech IQ score, we can really then begin to start defining where our short-term and our long-term priorities should be, whether this is things like learning pathways for our teams or roadmaps for marketing ops, because all of this is there to help support those budget conversations. Okay. And wouldn't it be great if you could take your Martech IQ, and it'd be great if you could then predict what that is going to then look like in 6 months' time, 12 months' time, as you continue to optimize and build out your Martech Spine capabilities. And it'd be even better if marketers could then benchmark their Martech capabilities against their peers or around other industries. We hear it all the time from customers and from clients who say, what are others doing? Who's doing really well at this? Is there anything we could be doing? And wouldn't it be great if all of this was all backed by research, data, algorithms, statistics, okay, rather than just a hunch, rather than just what we think. Okay, so this is what we're talking about with Martech IQ. Because like I said, the reality about being able to actually measure your Martech, your as-is status, is not something you can really easily do, let alone standardize and get something meaningful out of it. Because in reality, everybody's situations are very different, and environments and tech landscapes is very, very different. So we want to think about this differently. So by combining what's going to be an assessment with objective performance, okay, it's going to be a way that it's actually going to be able to give you usable, actionable insight that you're going to be able to take into your budgets and your arguments to take the next steps in building out those capabilities that Stu was talking about. We do also see it as a really good way to actually get noted and promoted, because you're actually going to be able to take your Martech IQ and use it to kind of demonstrate how you got from A to B. Okay. So we're doing all of this because, like I said, like Martech is really, it needs a pathway. It's complex. It's messy. It needs direction. Okay. And you've on top of that, you've got non-marketing execs saying, looking at your Martech spend and saying, will it make us money? Will it save us money? Or will it provide insight and agility? So it would be great to actually go back with something that can define each of that. So, like I said, this isn't just based off of a bit of a hunch or us saying you should do this. So, we didn't want to go with that approach. So we've got the construct within Martech IQ in terms of the assessment and everything that's going to make up the IQ. Okay, so a few things we are currently keeping close to our chest, but you'll be able to hear more about that when you'll be able to register some interest a little bit later. So we have a construct, but we are actually backed by the government through the UK Research and Innovation Department, as well as also being validated through academia by the University of Southampton. Okay, so not just us, we're getting this validated, okay, and we're backed by the government as well. But then we took it a step further, and we've worked with some of our closest customers to actually bring it to life, actually based on what marketeers and marketing operation teams are really looking for in a benchmark. Okay, so we've built our construct, we've had it validated, but we've also had it validated through our customers as well, okay, which is really great. So we've got some really great features planned for Martech IQ. So we're talking about things, like I say, it's going to be a web-based assessment, okay? You're going to be able to see your raw Martech IQ score. You'll be able to get some recommendations based on those scores as well, okay? Effectively, from how you've answered your assessment, what is going to influence an increase in your IQ over time, okay? We're going to be able to offer weighted scorings, okay, because certain organizations will favor or prioritize certain subcategories over others, okay? We'll be able to do some statistical modeling to help you visualize, see how you rank, as well as some of those predictive analytics that are going to give you that longer term objective as well, okay? So for the benchmark itself, which you're going to be able to complete as regularly as you like, with basic recommendations and that summary report, is going to be available to everybody for free, okay? It's going to be available on our website, and we really do encourage everybody when it launches to go out and get themselves a Martech IQ, okay? Build that foundation for what then comes next. Following that, we are going to have 2 monthly options as well. Okay, these are going to be aimed at kind of helping with the nuances and complexities of enterprise business. So where we can go in and support with platform audits, okay? Some of that predictive, some of that roadmap assistance, as well as, which is also really exciting, potential involvement in some of our future research and our outputs from that as well. So when? So we're going to be looking at a February 2025 release, so early February. Okay, that's going to be with version 1 of Martech IQ. We are going to be soft launching this, okay, just before Christmas, so middle of December, okay, with select organizations, which is where you can get involved. Okay, so you're going to be able to register your interests through either scanning the QR code I'll put a link up to the registration or the interest page shortly as well, so you can just click through into it, because that's probably going to be a little bit easier. But I do encourage you all to let us know what you think as well. So yeah, register your interest, get in touch, let us know what you think, because we're really excited about this, and we think this is something that is going to really change the way you think about understanding where you currently are with your Martech, but also how it's going to look in the future. And your IQ is going to be your constant throughout that process. Okay, cool. So I am just going to drop the slides, and I will bring up our next thing, wherever you are. There we go. Wonderful. There we go. So that might be easier rather than everyone getting their phones out and trying to scan the screen. You can just click on register your interest, and that will take you over to our landing page. So please do fill it in. Let us know what you think as well. Cool. And Stu, if you can hear me, I'll hand back over to yourself.
Thank you, Chris. And thanks everyone for attending today. So we've got some big new announcements, both in terms of our Spine capability and how we're helping organizations connect the platforms and their capabilities across the Spine. If you have any one of those challenges across the Spine, we'd love to hear from you. So please do reach out, get in touch. And super excited about Martech IQ. It's going to be a real game changer for many organizations. Many of you marketers out there, in terms of how to think about benchmarking yourself and your organization, and then how to go and get more budget with the great work that you do today. So thanks for attending. I think a recording is going to be available that we'll send out shortly after. And feel free to share this internally with any one of your colleagues. Spread the word. Martech IQ is a great new thing that's coming out, and we want as many people getting their benchmark report as quickly as possible. So thanks for joining, and we'll speak to you soon.
Thanks, everyone. All the best. Bye.